One of the best known and easy to recognize patterns in technical analysis is the head and shoulders. It's got a very distinctive look, which is pretty easy to identify. And we'll spend the most time with this example, and then we'll start to thumb through them. And I want to emphasize in this video, I'm showing both regular head and shoulders, which are topping patterns, and inverted head and shoulders, which are basing or bottoming patterns. So this is the Dow Jones Utilities. There's a particularly good head and shoulders here, and it's highlighted. This portion is the left shoulder, the middle is the head, and the right portion is the right shoulder. Ideally, the right shoulder should be lower than the left shoulder, as this one is, and it's got a neckline approximately here. There are occasions when the price will break and retrace to the neckline and then plunge, or there are times when it just falls without looking back. And this has been one of the latter times. And there have been a number of topping patterns on the utilities. Not all of them are head and shoulders. That one back here, just prior to the financial crisis, is a particularly clean one. Here's another cash index market. This is the gold sector, XAU. And zooming in on this portion, you can see the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. I mentioned at the beginning how easy these patterns were to spot, and that's a bit misleading, because without the benefit of any highlights or anything, if you just show a person this, they either may not spot it, or what I typically see more often is they'll identify things that aren't head and shoulders patterns at all and claim that they are. But that's not a bad example of one. Now on to some regular equities. Here's AOBC, American Outdoor Brands. A very large pattern right here. And the neckline in this instance is at 8.13. So this has already started falling. If it retraced anywhere close to that neckline, it would be a very appealing prospective short. CBRE, which is the CBRE group. There have been several topping patterns here, but this is the one in particular I wanted to highlight for you. Here's the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. There's the neckline. And you can see here it dipped, pushed its way a little higher, recovered for a week or two to the neckline, and then began to fall in earnest. CIEN, here I've highlighted, back in the turn of the millennium, a pretty well-formed one. This isn't as clean as some of the others you've seen. Here's CX. There's a couple of very plain ones right here. Here's one, which preceded a big drop, and here's another, which preceded another substantial plunge in price. Here's the diamonds. Now, in this instance, we've got sort of one of each. Here is a reversal pattern, open up the opportunity for a short position, and then not long after, during the throes of the financial crisis, the market carved out a nice base for itself. And you can see here the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. And just as with the topping pattern, it's helpful if the right shoulder is lower than the left shoulder, implying weakness. So too, on a bullish pattern, you want to see the right shoulder higher than the left shoulder, as it is here, which implies strength, gaining strength. This is EFA. There's a pattern right there. I'll go through these a little more swiftly because I think you get the idea. Here's Germany, EWG, a couple of good examples of topping patterns with a head and shoulders style. EZU, here's a very clean one here before the financial crisis. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline, and you can see here a break, a dip back to the neckline, and then down it goes. Fluor, FLR, this one shows how stretched these can become sometimes. So here we have an enormous, here's a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, and a neckline at 3402. And you can see here, it plunged beneath it, fought its way back up, and then began to fall on you. Here's an ETF, which are the junior gold miners, GDXJ. And zooming in here, this is similar to the XAU pattern you saw earlier. There's our reversal top. Here's IWM, the small caps, which has a couple of nice bullish examples and a bearish example. So here is a beautiful inverted head and shoulders around the year 2002, 2003. Here's another one at the end of the financial crisis. And between those two, here's a reversal top. MS, Morgan Stanley, several good examples of head and shoulder reversals. OEF, which is the S&P 100, here's one of each again. Here's the topping pattern, and here's the basing pattern. And the last of these, VSH, which is Vishay Answer Technology. And in this example, this is, as of this recording, quite recent. We've got a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and a break beneath this particular neckline.